Hey everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the Grafton County Senior Citizens Council 2024 annual meeting. Please note that this meeting is being recorded, as that person just said. My name is Bill Garrity, and I am the president of GCSCC's Board of Directors. It's my pleasure to call the 2024 annual meeting of the Grafton County Senior Citizens Council to order. Our mission is to develop, strengthen, and provide programs and services that support the health, dignity, and independence of older adults and adults with disabilities living in our communities. Thank you all for supporting our mission and for attending today to hear more about our programs and issues affecting older adults. Please let me mention a few housekeeping matters. I know we've all been through the Zoom routine, but I fumble occasionally also, so I'll just remind everyone that unless you're speaking, please ensure that your microphone is muted. If you wish to make or second a motion, or if you wish to ask a question or make a comment, please raise your hand. And when recognized, please identify yourself for the record and for the benefit of all participating.
It's your hand.
Just an amendment to that one. I think because I can't see all of you at the same time. So if you want to raise an issue, you unmute and just raise your hand. So I think as soon as you make a noise, I'll see you. Okay, I think that's how it works. There'll be an opportunity for questions and comments after each presentation and then at the end of the meeting. The first portion of our meeting will feature a presentation about food insecurity in New Hampshire, and that will be followed by our business meeting. At this time, I'd like to welcome and introduce our guest speaker, Eileen Gruhl-Liponis. After receiving her undergraduate degree from Boston College and many years in finance in the Boston area, Eileen came to New Hampshire to pursue her MBA from the University of New Hampshire. The rewards of mission-driven work drew her away from for-profit world and led her to the helm of the New Hampshire Food Bank. Through their network of over 400 partner agencies, they reach New Hampshire's 9% of folks who are food insecure with healthy, nutritious food to positively impact their health. Eileen grew up in Hudson Valley of New York and now resides in New Hampshire Seacoast area with her husband and 3 daughters. Eileen, thank you for joining us today to talk about this important topic. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. And I should modify that. I'm now an empty nester. My youngest daughter of 3 daughters is going to be graduating UNH this year, so we made it.
Yep, they keep getting older.
Yep. So let's see if I can share my screen here. All right. So I am Eileen Liponis from the New Hampshire Food Bank. I'm happy to be here to present to you all. I'm going to try to give you a high level and then drill down into New Hampshire. Food insecurity as defined is a lack of consistent access to enough nutritious food to lead a healthy life. It's associated with numerous social and health issues. We know the key driver is pretty much poverty. Everybody knows what they want to eat and wish they could afford what they want to eat. We've had multiple interventions that have shown to reduce food insecurity, participation in food assistance programs like SNAP, formerly known as food stamps, and broader societal level improvements in economic stability. That's part of our programming that I'll get to later. The history of food insecurity in the United States, we're working hard, but we're not really making any progress. And the rates just came out recently through Feeding America. I should qualify that the New Hampshire Food Bank is a proud program of New Hampshire Catholic Charities, and also under contract as one of the 200 food banks in the country under contract with Feeding America. So they just came out and we're back up to 9%, like we said earlier. For as much as we're trying, we're just not making the headway. These are old statistics because, like I said, new ones just came out. So we're 9% of residents and 12% of children. And this is just not acceptable. And then we look at how we're measured, and it looks like we're doing well. I mean, look at our numbers compared to Vermont and Maine, and those are our neighbors. It looks like we're really doing a great job, but my reality is different. This is my big economic indicator. because before COVID, you'll see that we had maybe 6 to 10 mobile food pantries a year. They'd be very directed. For example, the Saturday before February break in Colebrook, the North Country Regional Electric Cooperative, I'm sorry, I'm mashing that name up, does a directed food drive for Colebrook the week before break with heavy on breakfast and lunch items that are easy for kids to prepare. And we would average about 250 families. That was pre-COVID, one example of a mobile food pantry. Remember, 6 to 10 a year we did before COVID. COVID came, we were doing 3 a week. Now, granted, we had the National Guard with us from April to August, but we still continued that the rest of that year doing 3 a week without them. The following year, we did 2 a week, and we've been holding steady at around averaging 1 a week since then. We're averaging 400 families. During the height of COVID, I could do 800 probably on average. So it has come down, but the fact that every week we have a mobile food pantry somewhere, some Friday in New Hampshire, dropping anywhere from 10 to 15,000 pounds of food, depending on what we have and what we're expecting, and averaging 400 families. So no matter what the numbers look like, those are the numbers I'm dealing with every week. And so that doesn't seem like we're making as much progress as we could. So this is what we do. This is our team. Luckily we had a great weather day out at Rye Harbor last year. So you'll see some nice seacoast pictures. We have 400 partner agencies throughout the state, I'm sorry, and our mobile food pantries. And with that, we distributed just under 17 million pounds of food. We did 17 something in the height of COVID. Before COVID, we were doing around 13. So besides our distribution, we have a number of programs that deal directly with the root cause of hunger and trying to give folks the tools they need to move themselves forward. We have Cooking Matters, which is a hands-on educational, teaching parents and children the nutrition education that they need to bargain price, to look at unit pricing, to really how to stretch a dollar, how to use a whole chicken. So Cooking Matters is all about the education. We also have a culinary job training program up in our production kitchen. We have a production kitchen that makes 5,000 to 6,000 meals a week in aggregate hotel pans that accommodate probably 20 to 25 people per pan. A lot of those go to Boys and Girls Clubs throughout the state, senior feeding programs, immigrant and refugee programs. And like I said, a lot of Boys and Girls Clubs, there's other after school programs that we supply a hot meal to. We also run the state's SNAP outreach program. We're under a contract with the state. And we also run the state's 2 SNAP incentive programs, Double Up Food Bucks, and Granite State Market Match. Granite State Market Match, you can take your SNAP dollars and double them in a farmer's market, and the same you can do in the participating independent grocers for Double Up Food Bucks. And that really stretches the dollar for fruit and produce. The mobile food pantries we talked about. One of our favorite programs is New Hampshire Feeding New Hampshire. We started this, 2018 with $10,000. We worked with the North Country Farmers Co-op, and from there we did another pilot, and then the 3rd year we went statewide, and then we were able to secure, we got about $50,000 in our first independent year, and then we're almost in our 3rd year of 1.8 million that we got through the USDA, through the partnering with the New Hampshire Department of Agriculture, and that feeds our New Hampshire Feeding New Hampshire program, which is where when we deal with all local food producers, farmers, we can forward contract with them in the beginning of the year so they get cash in their pockets to help them with all the supplies they need. Seed and fertilizer is not cheap. I'm from a farming family. In the middle of the season, during the growing season, we give money directly to our agencies, so they buy directly from their local farmers, and they choose what they know their clientele will want. And then at the end of the season, we're able to do some bulk buying. And that's when the ultimate goal for me, coming from a farmer's family, is you want the cooler empty, you want the pockets of the farmer to be fat and full with dollars, and that way he's confident going into Christmas. And that's what we've been able to do. Last year was really rough because of the frost on the apples, but we were able to purchase other products from them to help keep them afloat. 2 years ago, we had an apple farmer that said, can I participate in this again? Because this is the first year I ever sold out of apples in 10 years. So that's the type of commitment that we've been demonstrating to our agricultural and food producing community throughout the state. And we hope to continue that support by having it be a permanent program and part of the U.S. Farm Bill that's going to be coming up. We also have a production garden. We got 1 acre on the Youth Protection Center, formerly called the Sununu Center over in North Manchester. We've got 1 acre there, beautiful land. We get about 10,000 pounds of food out of that garden, and it's a great opportunity for volunteers to come in. We've got large groups that come in, and that's a great place to accommodate them. And they're outside, they're happy, and learning where their food comes from and helping us get it to our neighbors. We also run a little over 30 summer food service programs throughout the state. We like to target the rural areas that are hard. It's easier in an urban area where they say, you know, they have a Parks and Recreation department. It's very easy for them to do. When you don't have one, it's much harder. So the smaller towns that lack that type of infrastructure, we kind of go in and we had the best example of trying to find out where things are going to work. We had our former nutrition manager, Helen. I think she was in Whitefield, and she couldn't figure out, you know, where are the kids? So she went to the police office, the police station. She goes, where do you bust the kids for skateboarding? You want to know where the kids are? So just figuring out within every community, it's a fiefdom. And so like when we set up in-school pantries, our agency relations coordinator will ask, who do the kids trust? Who do they go to? It's different. There is a different magnet in every school. So it's either the school nurse, the guidance counselor, the vice principal, and then we put them in charge of the pantry program in the school. One last program here, the nutrition pantry program. It's based at Alea's Pantry in California. It's more ACEs informed, trauma informed, holistic approach, because if someone has food insecurity in their household, that's probably not the only issue they have. And within food insecurity, there are power struggles. You know, who is the purchaser of the food? Who's the receiver of the food? So there's many ways that we deal with that, and we educate our agencies so that they can deal with them better and get the folks what they need and meet them where they are. This is our agency relations and development department. You can see on the left, those are all the ladies that deal with over 400 agencies throughout the state. That's the development department over here. The person that's second to the right, this lady here, Nancy Mellett, we call her the, what's the guy, 7 degrees, Kevin Bacon of New Hampshire. She knows everybody. So that's the department that makes it rain money for us. We're so grateful for them. For our nutrition and culinary programs, you see our kitchen crew and our nutrition crew. We try to keep things healthy and fun. If you ever want to volunteer, you can come up to the kitchen, and if you can chop vegetables and not fingers, we'll take you. This is myself and our executive team. Dennis Gachana, our director of operations, Nancy Mellett, otherwise known as the Kevin Bacon of New Hampshire. I'm sure somebody out there knows her, trust me. And Tiffany Sweat, who just came down to us from the director of nutrition for a hospital in the North Country. So we're very fortunate to have her. And this is our responsibility. We feel like if there's any corner of this state, we're responsible for the whole state, that is growing something and there's something left over or a deal we can cut, it's our obligation to service as much of the food producers in New Hampshire to keep the food local. That way it's a low carbon footprint and a higher nutrition value because it has less shelf time. And these are all the areas within the state that we work with. We also partner with the Department of Health and New Hampshire healthcare providers. One of the most successful things that we think we can do is have healthcare screen for hunger. So I challenge you, next time you go to your doctor, ask him, why aren't you screening me for hunger? It's something that is invisible, and I'll get to that later. But if one of the last places people feel comfortable and confident and they can divulge things that maybe they wouldn't otherwise admit, we ask our hospitals and our healthcare providers to screen for hunger using Hunger's Vital Signs. Hunger's Vital Signs has 2 questions. And like I said earlier, one speaks to the purchaser, one speaks to the receiver of the food. And it asks whether or not in the last 12 months they've had enough money or were afraid they were going to run out of food. And the beauty of this screening is it's not black and white. There's not just yes or no answers. It's never, sometimes, often. People save face and they'll choose sometimes, because that doesn't sound so bad. That's not a bad reflection on me, sometimes. But it does still capture them for positive, and then you can intervene. And when we ask them to intervene, we give them a rack card, which shows on one side how to navigate our website visually in case English is a second language. And they can go through and find one of the 400 food banks nearest, one of the 400 food pantries, partner pantries of ours nearest them. And then on the other side, we encourage them to apply for SNAP. And that's one of the things that I would bring up today. The SNAP population, the eligibility for SNAP in New Hampshire is high. Those folks who take advantage of it is low. So I would encourage you to look on our website, give our hotline a call, and see if you're eligible for SNAP. There's no reason to leave that money on the table, especially when you could double it this summer in our farmers markets. So I would encourage you to encourage all your seniors to call our 1-800 hotline on our website and see if they're eligible for SNAP. We help you apply, and then you can look forward to that much more produce this summer. So that's my selling point there to seniors on SNAP. Please apply. There's plenty out there. We're working real hard so everybody can have everything they need, and we need you to step up and help us help you. We have preventative food pantries that we partner with hospitals. Lots of hospitals, sometimes they're like, well, we'd like to have something on site as well. So we have emergency food boxes, and we've partnered so far with Catholic Medical Center, the Upper Valley, and Dartmouth Hitchcock. We're also partnering with the Department of Education. You know, we have the farm to school program, but the items get from the farm to the school. And the kitchen help is like, what the heck am I going to do with a Hubbard squash? And I agree. You know, there's more than one way to bust open a Hubbard squash than dropping it from a forklift, my preferred method. But, you know, it's daunting sometimes. And so we had the Manchester School District in for several weeks this summer. They were volunteering in our kitchen, but learning new skills and volunteering on. We brought in the vegetables that we knew that they were going to be receiving and try to help them work with them, work with them on less salt, more acid. So, you know, lay off the salt shaker, sprinkle some lemon juice in there, how to reduce fat and introduce more flavorings. So in the hopes that we also were teaching them different culturally preferred foods. Manchester has over 80 dialects, 80 languages spoken. So there's a lot of culturally preferred needs out there not being met. So that's also how we're working to help and spread the nutrition, not just through our direct distribution, but through educating educators. Looking forward, what more can we do? We are establishing a North Country physical presence. We've had a North Country Food Systems Coordinator, thanks to the Tillotson Fund, for the past almost 6 years. And every year, just having her physical presence and helping things coordinate, we've done over 100% every year. So now we just recently rented some space from our North Country New Hampshire distributors. And it's great space. It's a warehouse, and all they distribute is beer and water. So rodents really aren't a problem. So I'm going into clean space, and we have everything all fitted out by pretty much mid-month. So by the end of May, we're going to be fully functional up there. And that's going to increase our capacity tremendously to be able to feed our neighbors in the North Country and give them access to more variety. Because I'm going to stage the staples up in Berlin, the things that they always buy, like, you know, your tuna, your pasta, your sausage, your peanut butter. And then the exotics, the things that they couldn't necessarily do on a load that was being delivered, like healthcare products. You can't buy healthcare or cleaning products with SNAP. You can only buy food. And that stuff is expensive. I mean, I went to the market basket yesterday buying stuff, and there wasn't even any food. And I walked out there with $50 worth of stuff, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So we're all feeling it. And this way we feel like we can help them out more here. How do we fill our role? We adapt. Boy, did we learn that during COVID. We thought we were good at it to begin with, and then we really found out we can, our role is changing. The whole model kind of got flipped upside down during COVID, I'll be honest. People aren't donating as much because they're having a hard enough time putting food on the table themselves. They're not going to have a birthday party for their daughter and ask all her friends to bring food for a food drive. We're not seeing that anymore. During COVID, when the shelves were bare, all the grocers, and we found this out from an annual meeting of the independent grocers of New Hampshire, they walked the aisles, and anything that was still left on the shelves after everything had been stripped off during COVID, they're like, we're not carrying that anymore. We're not carrying that anymore. So like the main sellers, the volume movers, that's what they're carrying. We're not carrying a lot of the auxiliary stuff. And that's the stuff that would get donated. If it sat around long enough, they would get rid of it. So now they're saying, we're not even going to carry that inventory. So we're seeing less donations from grocers. We're seeing less donations from food drives. And I am purchasing almost, hate to say it, 700% more food than I was pre-COVID. And that's hard to sustain, but we feel like we have an obligation. We're the backbone of charitable food distribution in the state, second only to the Federal Nutrition Program, SNAP. We work with advocacy and legislation, both on the state level and the federal level. I work with Feeding America, their advocacy office on a national level. And the biggest thing that we feel is like when you feed a generation, you're teaching them how to feed the next generation, how to nourish themselves. And so we feel like our responsibility is not just to provide food, it's to provide education and opportunities and expansion of the person themselves to develop their food security and the ability to control their health through their diet. I think that's the end. Yep. This Irishman's gonna shut up.
Well, you just covered a lot of territory here.
That's the Irishman. She talks fast.
That was impressive, Eileen. There's a open up for questions. I'm just looking at the chat. Let's see here. From Maria, it says, in the past, I've seen yearly lists of farmers markets in the entire state who take SNAP beneficiaries. Is this from you, Eileen, or from a different agency? I love telling our folks exact locations and exact times of where they can go every weekend. You see that?
The SNAP benefits is ours. We run it. So Granite State Market Match, there's almost a booth. I don't know if we've got every farmer's market. So I don't know that, but if I can get back to where are you at? Whose question was this?
Marie.
That was from Maria. She's one of our senior center directors. So Eileen, if you want to send it to me, I can make
Yep.
sure to share it with the
Thank
team.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, anything you have, send it to Kathleen and she'll
Okay.
make sure she gets it. Send
Yeah,
either
no, we've
Laura-
been able to expand that quite a bit and promoted it really well. So it's, like a hockey stick growth. It's been great.
And Laura just listed a SNAP team here in New Hampshire, so that's on the chat. That we'll include that in anything
Okay.
that we send out. Questions, anyone? Please. As I said, I can't see all of you at the same time here, but
Thank you, Laura, for putting that 800 number up there and our website. I owe you one.
Kevin?
Thank you, Eileen, for your presentation. I appreciate it. Very diverse. I've worked this spring with folks in your agency who are in charge of summer meals, and we're trying to get something going in Lebanon, New Hampshire, with Eileen and the gang down there. And it's been frustrating because they say, "Oh, all of Lebanon doesn't qualify as a site for summer meals. The middle school qualifies, where very few kids actually live in that rural part of the town.
Yeah.
Yet the school, which is in a dense area, does not qualify in the same town." And that's been frustrating because the middle school people are like, "Yeah, we're all on board. We will run this program. We will sponsor it. We'll get the employees." And the middle school didn't have the same response. And so basically it's not going to happen. And that's a huge frustration.
Yeah, we'll talk again offline. Kevin Lawrence,
Well,
okay, Twin Pines.
Follow up on that one? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
where there's a will, there's a
Martha?
way.
Martha, why you got your hand up?
Good morning. Hi, Eileen. Martha Richards here in Plymouth. I'm Executive Director of the Plymouth Area Community Closet, and Don Miller is our pantry person who does a wonderful job. But I'm often astonished as to why we don't get more people coming, because we have loads of wonderful foodstuffs. She has a great manner about her and does it with great dignity. And we've put out all kinds of notices. I don't know what more we can do. It's like 8 to 10 Tuesdays and Thursdays. We also give out a Hannaford food card to those who need it.
Well, there's a
So,
problem.
what-
8 to 10 Tuesdays and Thursdays, people are working. That's the biggest thing that we get from folks is, can you open after hours? And well, these agencies, these partners have volunteers, and those volunteers want to go home for dinner too. So that's always a big problem. And weekends, if you can open on a weekend for a few hours, you get better luck there. But the limited hours, that's what's limiting your distribution. As far as marketing it goes, everybody by far says that social media, it builds, but once you get your clientele on that, then you can get them to be more responsive.
A lot of our people are senior citizens, so their day is freer than younger families. But yeah, I want to take care of younger families. And like you
Yep.
say, most of them are working. Yeah, so we have to go at it at the inner parts here, I guess, with changing our timings, if we can do that.
Yeah, who's your agency coordinator? Is it for?
Don Miller.
No.
who
With
runs-
us?
I have no idea. I thought
Okay.
she dealt with you because I don't deal with you as the executive director, but she's the one who puts in the orders to
Yeah,
you
so
folks.
I'll
and
find
they've
out.
been
I'll find out.
marvelous.
I'm pretty sure I know which coordinator that is. But yeah, we can help you.
Well, it'd be wonderful. Well,
Sure.
you've done a wonderful job so far, and thank you loads.
Thank you. We're nothing. You're the feet in the street. We're nothing without our soldiers in the field. You know, so the stronger that we make you, the stronger we make the whole network. And that's why we've been capacity building and buying coolers and freezers like crazy. Just so we can get the frozen protein and the dairy and the produce and away from the shelf stable. Not so much away, but supplement it, you know, it's not the only game in town.
Yep. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Neil, you had your hand up, or you okay?
Eileen, I thought that was an outstanding presentation. I have a very narrow slice of food scarcity in my volunteer work, and it's very comforting to me to know that there's a statewide organization that is acting at the absolute maximum level to address the problem. So
Yeah.
I'm aware of it on an individual basis, but it's really comforting to know you do the kind of work you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bill,
Yes,
Bill?
yes.
it's
Yep.
Allison. Eileen, can
Mhm.
we get a copy, or can you send Kathleen a copy of your slide presentation? You had some really wonderful information, and I do a lot of grant writing here, and some of your facts are just phenomenal. So
Can
if-
you contact me directly for what you need? Just because I got burned in the past bad. And so I haven't been sending them out.
Oh,
But if there's
okay.
any direct information you want, just email me.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
eLaponis@nhfoodbank.org, which I should probably
Okay.
type in here.
Thank you.
Yep.
Obviously, a recording of this will be available. So I'm jumping around here trying to look at, see if I'm missing something. Anyone else have questions? Speak up.
If not, I want to close with a short story.
Okay, let me just double check.
Make sure.
I think, okay, go ahead.
So we have our Steel Chef competition. It's one of our big annual events every year. It's a cooking competition. We have it at the Manchester Armory, have a food celebrity come in, and I get the opportunity to address 800 people at once. In case you haven't noticed, public speaking is not my wheelhouse. I'll do it. I know for it's a good cause, but it doesn't make me comfortable. And the other thing I was thinking about is every year, what am I going to say to these folks? Like, I'm a numbers person. I got a finance background. So, you know, percentages and pounds all make sense to me. I know there's other people, they're like, woo. So I was trying to think of a way to illustrate what is hunger. And so I made fun of myself and said, if I'm good at that, the first year for Steel Chef, I went out of my way. Stockings, heels, a dress, contacts. I let my daughters do my hair and makeup. People that knew me for 20 years walked right by me. I was invisible to them. And that's when it hit me. That's what hunger is. It walks right by you every day and we don't know it. How would you know? It's not recognizable, right? How would you know what to look at? So that's what it looks like. It's invisible. Here's what it sounds like. Mom, how come you're not eating dinner? Oh, don't worry about me, honey. I had a late lunch. I'll fix something later if I'm hungry. Billy, you forgot your lunch again? Oh, I'm so stupid. I must have left it on the bus again. Hunger sounds like excuse and deflect. Don't bring attention to it because there's shame there. Here's what hunger sounds like when we as a community have the opportunity to step in. One of my rules at the mobile food pantries when folks come is the first thing they hear is, thanks for coming out today. If the weather's nice, say thanks for bringing the good weather. Make it something about what it's not. When they leave, the last thing I want them to hear is, thanks for coming out today. First thing they hear and the last thing they hear. So I said this to a young mother and a daughter who were walking out. This was pre-COVID, and we do mostly drive-throughs now, but they had selected what they want and they were leaving. And I said to them, thanks for coming out today. And the little girl looked up at me and she goes, no, thank you, because now mama gets to make a good dinner and that makes her happy. So we're not just delivering food, we're delivering peace of mind. We're delivering that mother's satisfaction that she was able to prepare a good meal. we're able to give that daughter the opportunity to see her mother experience joy. So it's just a lot more than food. And that's why we have so much programming, because we know it's not just food. Food itself is not going to solve the problem. So we advocate in every way possible for those who can't advocate for themselves. And when you guys go to your doctor, ask him why he's not screening you for hunger. Put the pressure on. This is my challenge. And then also apply for SNAP. If you're having a hard time, why leave food on the table or vegetables and produce in the farmer's market? Go get it. And I'll shut up again.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay. Well, thank you very much. Greatly
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank you for all you
your
do and for taking care of each
presentation.
other. In any way we can help, let us help.
And we will thank you again and move on to our business aspect of our meeting
All right,
here.
I'm back to the dairy symposium. Thank you all for the opportunity
Okay,
to present
go
to
ahead.
you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right, so, okay, here we go. The next order of business is to approve the minutes of the annual meeting of April 2023. Those minutes have been posted on GCSCC website, and I hope that all who wish to do so have had an opportunity to review them. At this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes. I need someone to give me a hand so I can see. Dean, okay, that's the first one I saw. I need a second. We got to do this process right. Natalie? Okay. Are there any comments, questions, or discussion? Okay, all those who approve acceptance of the minutes from the 2023 annual meeting, please signify by raising your hand. Okay, all those opposed? Anyone opposing? Okay, the motion passes and the minutes have been accepted. So now we're legal to move on here. Okay. We'll move on to the slate of officers and the board members up for election. So it's my pleasure to present the 2024 GCSCC slate of officers and board members for election. The nominated for first three-year term, David McCure Littleton and Laura Shears Thornton. Nominated for a second three-year term, Bill Carheck Bridgewater, Christine St. Laurent Compton. Nominated as a renewing officer, 2024-2026, Dean Cashman Treasurer, Lebanon. And continuing to serve as officers, President Bill Garrity Hanover, Martha Richards Holderness. Then the Board of Directors members continuing to fill their current terms are Dean Cashman, Lebanon, Neil Castaldo, Hanover, Lori Fortini, Lebanon, Bill Garrity, Hanover, Doug Menzies, Littleton, Bob Mew, Littleton, Natalie Murphy, Bridgewater, and Martha Richards, Holderness. I would welcome a motion by a raised hand for all the above I just read off for officers and directors. I got the, I can't see it because I got the list of names up. There, now I can see most of you. All right, we'll go with Neil for 1 second. Give me a second, someone that didn't vote before. I need different names just to be fun with this. I can't. Okay. Jumping around.
Dean had his hand up.
Yeah, I was, okay, we'll go with Dean.
You wanted
We'll move
a
on.
different name, though.
Yeah, I was looking for some, as I'm fumbling here with when they all don't fit on the same screen, I must admit I'm still challenged. All right, we're gonna go with Bill Carheck. Bill K versus Bill G. Okay. All those in favor say aye by raising your hand, and we'll move on. Thank you very much to everyone whose names I rattled off for multiple years and multiple things. Okay, at this time, I'll ask our treasurer, Dean Cashman, to present the financial report.
All right, thanks, Bill. Just waiting for, there's a few bullet points there on the slide on the screen, but our audited financials will be available in our annual report next month and also on our website. Last year, 46% of our revenue came from the contracts we have with the state of New Hampshire to provide nutrition, transportation, and service link. The amount of government funding we receive is not increasing, but we continue to provide for all those who need our programs and services. We don't turn anyone away. And how do we make that possible? It's from additional revenue streams like town and county funding, voluntary donations from participants, and philanthropic fundraising. In 2022, we had a successful campaign raising over $1 million and followed that up last year with $624,000. Despite that $624,000, we still had expenses exceeding revenue by $57,000, and that's simply because costs are increasing. Food for our meals, gas for our buses, and wages. This past fiscal year marked the end of receiving any COVID funds. Partly due to those funds, we have strong reserves and quality investment portfolio, but gaps are going to continue when state and federal funds become depleted. Thank you all for your generous support you provide to help meet the need in our community on an annual basis. Back to you, Bill. Unless there's questions.
Anyone have questions? I mean, I'll make a comment. One of the issues with the state is this statement of we continue to get funding from the state, but if it's level, that means we're losing ground with them. I mean, it's basic math. So just remember that as we continue to talk with state and other officials out there. Flat funding isn't going to help us in future years. Okay, if you drop the financial position slide. Okay, all right. Thanks, Dean. Just again, I didn't want to, I'm keep scanning, looking for hands, or speak up if you have any questions. Okay. Okay, next up, Kathleen Benson will present her executive director's report.
Thanks, Bill. I'll go ahead and share my screen. So last year was one of continued change, creativity, and dedication to our mission. As people came back to our senior centers following the pandemic, we served more than 200,000 meals, provided more than 17,000 rides on our buses, 9,000 visits with our outreach and counseling team, and 29,000 instances of activities and programs. The population in New Hampshire is aging, as we all know, and the number of meals we provide is increasing as a result. This chart shows the number of home-delivered meals that GCSCC employees and volunteers prepared and served during the past 10 years. This shows a 28% increase since 2014. Last year, we served 4,200 more meals than the year before, and that was during a time of short staffing. Our employees, our entire team, they're remarkable. It's not news to anyone that it's challenging to recruit employees. GCSCC does not charge for any of programs or services, so we can't raise prices to offset the expense of higher wages. We also can't stop delivering services. The show must go on, and our team has done extraordinary work to ensure our participants receive nutritious meals and other essential services each weekday. For several months last year, we were without head cooks at 6 of our 8 senior centers, with no prospects in sight. It was all hands on deck under the leadership and direct support of our senior center directors to assist in preparing and delivering meals. We're also grateful for the food that was provided to us during that time by the Grafton County Nursing Home, Kendall at Hanover, Alice Peck Day Hospital, and the New Hampshire Food Bank during that time. There was a remarkable effort, and I'm immensely proud of our team and thankful to those generous community partners. At the same time, that was not sustainable. As a result, in 2023, we took a fresh look at our nutrition operation and developed a new way to provide meals. We've centralized those 6 of our 8 kitchens, and all meals for those 6 sites are being prepared from one location. We call it our central kitchen, and it's located at the Horse Meadow Senior Center in North Haverhill. This new approach reduces the burden of our understaffed kitchens, having to prepare meals from scratch each day as they were previously. Instead, the central kitchen team prepares them and delivers the food refrigerated, not frozen, to those senior centers where the food is then heated and served. This has been a huge change, and there were some hiccups as we expected, but overall the central kitchen is efficient, cost-effective, it ensures consistency in the food we're serving, and directly addresses the staffing challenges that we continue to face. And speaking of people who make it possible for us to do all that we do each day, I would like to thank our 462 volunteers. Last year, these incredible people donated more than 31,000 hours of their valuable time to perform chores for older adults, lead wellness classes, prepare and deliver meals, answer phones at our senior centers, call to check on the well-being of homebound adults. The list is seemingly endless. They do this work with smiles on their faces, and interacting with them is a joy for all of us. For our home delivered meals participants, our volunteers may be the only people they see all day. That social interaction is important and the safety check is essential. Thank you to all of our volunteers. We simply could not do all that we do without you on our team. To anyone attending this meeting who has not yet volunteered for GCSCC, I invite you to do so. Whatever your skill set is, I'm sure we have a role for you. So please contact your local senior center or me directly to find out more about how you can be a part of our mission and positively impact the lives of our community members throughout Grafton County. Each year, the open enrollment period for Medicare Part D prescription drug plans runs from October 15th through December 7th. Our ServiceLink team met with people during this past year, as they do every year during that time period, and they helped them save money on their prescription drug plans. Last year, they met with 413 people, again, during a time of being understaffed. And while we don't yet have the final savings number to announce, historically, it's been hundreds of thousands of dollars for Grafton County residents. So an incredible service for Grafton County. And ServiceLink also provides many other services, such as new to Medicare presentations, referral to community resources, options counseling, Medicaid assistance, and has 2 offices. There's a ServiceLink office in Lebanon and one in Littleton. As a new offering, last year we conducted information sessions about solo aging and estate planning. We also sent mailings to raise awareness about legacy giving and how to include GCSCC in your estate plans. Our Legacy Society launched in 2022, and we know it takes time to build this type of program. And of course, the results are not immediate with this type of fundraising. Yet we receive bequests each year, and we will continue to provide information for those who may be interested in leaving a legacy in support of GCSCC's mission. More information is on our website at gcscc.org. And I encourage everyone to also get involved by participating in our Spring Fling 5K walk run. It's being held this Saturday, May 4th, at the Horse Meadow Senior Center in North Haverhill. The address and the times are there on the screen. The event is a fundraiser to support all of the programs that GCSCC offers and to raise awareness about the increasing need for those services and the funding to support them. You're all invited to participate, and I hope to see you there. And again, more information is on our website, or you could reach out to your local senior center directly if you have any questions or would like more information about that event. So in closing, I'd just like to thank you all for taking the time to attend this meeting. Thank you all for everything you do to support GCSCC, your volunteer service. I know so many employees are on this call, our volunteers, donors. Thank you for your financial contributions, community partnerships. Ensuring the well-being of our community members is truly a team effort. So thank you all very much. And I'll turn it back over to Bill, or I guess first I'll see if there are any questions for me.
Any questions or observations? Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. Any any other questions or comments on any topic related to what we do? Just give everyone an opportunity to speak if you wish. All right. All right. Obviously, this kind of meeting is, it's a business meeting and you got to do it. Check off all the boxes, all the legal boxes, but as all the thank yous, I think I'll just emphasize again, as representing the board of directors, certainly want to thank Kathleen and all her staff and all the volunteers. It's been another challenging year, for sure, but a lot of changes, some new staff, but you just keep going and doing it. The quality is quite clear, and you should be proud of that, because I certainly am proud to represent you. So, seeing no other questions, comments, I ask for a motion to close the meeting. Need a board member to give me your hand here somewhere. All right, Dean number one, and then I'll have Dave McClure, who we have not introduced, but we're going to introduce him at our next meeting as a new board member. So he's official now. I think he's legally can raise his hand. And so I'm going to note that he seconded it. Welcome, Dave. We'll chat at our next meeting and give you a chance to introduce yourself. So all those in favor, raise your hand. And all those who want to hang out with me longer, feel free to do that. But I think the rest of you can move on. So thanks a lot again for attending and appreciate all your efforts. Take care.